They don't need to approve it. It's not a checklist item where it's like, okay, well, if you don't think I should do this, I'm not going to become a foster and adoptive parent. Hi guys, welcome to Ventures by Ariana. I'm Ariana, and welcome to Foster and Adoptive Family Dynamics. This is a really exciting part of my channel that I'm so grateful to be able to share with you guys. I hope you enjoy it just as much as I enjoy sharing it with you. And I wanted to kind of preface it by saying that I am not a foster and adoptive parent. I do not have any children, biological or otherwise. I do consider my dog and cat to be children of mine. I do not have humans yet, but one day, God willing, I will. So my perspective, where does it come from? I was raised in a home that was a foster and adoptive home. I was the only biological child of several siblings. I guess it depended on the day they asked me how many siblings I had. I could share that various number with you over the past 20 years. So my parents were foster and adoptive parents, and I have beautiful siblings that I call my own at any given time. And it doesn't matter, the blood did not relate us, it's the love and compassion that we have for one another. So I wanted to create this channel to bring a different and a unique perspective to foster and adoptive family dynamics, what it's like to be, for example, things you can expect to see on this part of the channel is what it's like to be the only biological child, what it's like to be raised with foster and adoptive siblings, what it's like to be raised by a mother who is a leading force in child welfare locally in our county. And there's just so many intricate dynamics within foster and adoptive homes that I was grateful enough to and blessed enough to grow up in one that was phenomenal. And it wasn't like the movies where they're terrible, and those homes do exist. And unfortunately, that is a reality of this world, right? There's going to be people that will take advantage of the system. But if you find beautiful places where they do love and care for children, that's what this video is going to be about. I want to lay the foundation for one of, I would say, 5 of the main things that I've taken away from growing up in a foster and adoptive home. And if you're considering or have ever considered being a foster and adoptive family, I would definitely take heed to these 5 things, because embarking on the journey of becoming in a foster and adoptive home brings forth a tapestry of emotions and challenges and profound connections, and it's intricately woven web of dynamics. And you're bringing individuals into your home with a plethora of backgrounds, right? Traumas. And so I think having these 5 things, and of course there's more, right? There's definitely more than these 5. And if you want to learn more and have more in-depth and detailed conversations about that, let me know in the comments. I'd be so happy to explain and to talk. Throughout this part of my channel, you're going to see interviews with some of my past foster siblings, some of my brothers, talk to different people inside this realm of child welfare that really make a difference every single day. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the 5 contributing layers of foundation that you need if you're considering becoming a foster and adoptive home. Even I'd say relative and non-relative caregivers, which I can explain in further videos what that means. It seems rather intuitive, but there are further layers and details to it. So let's dive right in. All right, so the number one thing, and this is a pillar in one of my foundational coaching courses as well, is embracing diversity and inclusivity, right? And I know this whole culture where we want to accept everyone, it seems like you're hearing it nonstop. And the reality is that is very important, because people come from various walks of life. And so foster and adoptive families are the essence of diversity and inclusivity. And so it's a reflection of a beautiful mosaic. If you think of a mosaic of diversity, each member with their distinct background, traits, and characteristics are coming into the home. You cannot judge the fabric of a person, whether that be their skin color, their creed, their religion, their sexual orientation, their gender identity, right? Their political beliefs. Because believe me, kids have access to social media. They have beliefs, and they're going to come. They're going to show it out. Some might yell it in your face and some might say it behind your back, but they do have their foundational core beliefs that they come with, right? Because you didn't raise these children typically, unless and you can get a child straight from the hospital. But oftentimes, the ones that need you the very, very most are children that already have broken foundation, right? But they are strong in their beliefs. And so these families thrive on inclusivity. When you open your home, you are accepting everyone, no matter their size, short, tall, fat, skinny, right? Curly hair, straight hair, blonde hair, blue eyes, green eyes, red hair. I mean, brown eyes, anything you can think of, you have to be able, you can't just say, well, I'd like a blonde hair, blue eyed boy, please. It's not like you can ship an order or wish list away, right? We don't get to do that in foster care. We don't get to pick out, it's not like a breeding industry where you're like, I'd like a Labradoodle. That's not how it works, right? And yeah, I'm being a little silly here, but the reality is you're going to have to embrace anyone that comes into your home. So I want to say another big thing too when we talk about diversity and inclusivity. On my channel, you're going to see a theme where I'm talking about disabilities and diagnoses and things like this, and that's because it was highly prevalent in my home growing up, with my parents being medical and therapeutic foster parents, and my mother being a registered nurse, and then myself having medical complexities, right? And so this is a theme that I'm very passionate about. You can quote unquote want the blonde hair, blue eyed male, right? And then they come into your home. Oh, and they have no disabilities, right? You want perfectly healthy, right? No physical or mental disabilities. They come into your home, they have trauma, they have no visible disabilities, but they have invisible disabilities from trauma. You have children coming in with sexual abuse, physical abuse, trigger warning, with church hurt, right? This is a faith based platform. I'm not going to preach at you, but it will come through because that's who I am. And you will see psychological abuse, malnutrition, right? Define healthy. So when you're thinking about becoming a foster parent, make sure you're ready to embrace those diversity and be inclusive in your home. All right. So moving on to number 2. You want to have nurturing relationships. Building strong and resilient relationships are at the heart of every foster and adoptive family. A good one, that is, right? And so, as caregivers, I was always typically the eldest child in my home. My parents started taking in children when I was 6 years old. So these parents and these caregivers have a delicate balance of fostering a sense of belonging and trust and security. You have to be able to nurture those relationships quickly because these children cannot trust anyone. You are the one, right? Imagine you got stripped of everything you know right now. You're watching this video right now, you're laying in your bed, you might be on the toilet, Wi-Fi, right? You have a cellular device. Imagine all of that was stripped from you. And you were placed in a strange home with someone that you never knew, right? So we have to create an environment where they feel nurtured. And so children, when they feel that safety, that trust, right, that belonging, they will learn to navigate the attachment and forming bonds to withstand the test of time. That's if you're the model home, right? It doesn't come overnight. There's a lot of training and conversations and relationship building, which we'll actually talk about a little bit later in this video. So number 2, as a reminder, if you're taking notes, is nurturing relationships. Number 3, overcoming challenges. The path to foster care and adoption is not without its challenges. Families may encounter hurdles related to attachment, right? Trauma, and complexities of the child's welfare system. It's a broken system. You have caseworkers, transporters, guardian ad litems, right? You have support personnel that are overworked. They have so many caseloads, they don't know what to do. They're underpaid. They get very little vacation. And the ones that are really good are working so much harder. And they're all doing the best that they can. I can promise you that. But there's so many children coming in day after day after day after day, right? Day and night calls coming in. Children being put into the system because the services cannot work for their situation at the present time, maybe in the future. So they're coming in with all these challenges. You already have all these challenges, right? And so when you're ready to face them head on and attack those challenges, right? It's kind of like how I was raised. You kind of put Satan under your foot, right? You're going to say, not the child, of course, right? But you're saying that challenge that came with them, we're going to deal with that. They're not alone. They feel safe, respected, loved, and they are not alone in facing their challenges anymore. Show them that you can overcome and that they can overcome because they see you overcoming. And so that overcoming those challenges is number 3. Now you might be saying, I'm going to pause because we're halfway through my 5 points here. You might be saying, well, Ariana, that sounds nice and that sounds great and all, but that sounds like a whole lot of work. I don't know if this foster thing is for me. Well, let me tell you, I would rather you figure out that it's not for you before you go into it than try to force yourself into something that you can't handle. But I don't want to scare you away because there's beautiful, and we will talk about this, there is beautiful, beautiful things that come from being a foster and adoptive family. But overcoming those challenges, and what I have learned in my walk with my faith, there's a Bible verse, Ephesians 3:20, where it talks about exceedingly abundantly God can do above all that we ask or think. And so you have to, right, embodying the mind of Christ, you have to walk like him. We are trying to be like Christ, Christ-minded people, then we are going to do exceedingly and abundantly for those children. Number 4, lifelong learning. My career, I work in healthcare, and I'm not a clinician, but I work very closely with clinicians, and to continue to do what you're getting paid to do at the best capacity that you can do it, right? Nurses have to do CEUs. These are continuing education requirements. So parenting, I think parenting just in general needs this, but more so with foster and adoptive families. It's a continuous journey of learning, and it's understanding the unique needs of each child that comes into your home. And I would say you need a village, right? You need to create a network, get plugged in. A lot of local counties, states, and cities will have associations. You can look up foster and adoptive associations within your local area if you're in the United States, where you can look and see where different groups of people have a plethora of resources for foster and adoptive families. They have continuing education, and these are typically nonprofits that will help you throughout your journey. You can build a community of other families and parents who are going through similar situations. Of course, they won't be the same exact thing. There's no rule book for parenting. For example, I have a dog. She is a strong, tough bully. I have a red-nosed pit mix. She's the love of my life, a beautiful dog, and she's rough. Sometimes she might bump into a table, right, when she's playing tug of war. Sometimes she might get water all over the floor when she's drinking, make food mess all over around her food bowl. How am I going to respond to a dog? If I respond to a dog poorly, am I going to respond to a human poorly as well? Oh, you'll be happy to know, pretty good with her. Her name's Gemma. She's great. I might bring her on one day so you can meet her. But she is rambunctious, beautiful. About 8 or 9, she's a rescue. Ironically, right? Think about how you communicate with your animals. If you're not communicating well with your animals, there might be some areas of improvement that need to be done. You don't have to be perfect to open up our home to children. God doesn't require perfection of us. We just have to try every day. I digress, so let me keep moving. The dedication to the lifelong learning ensures a nurturing environment that supports a holistic approach and development of each child. You're not alone. There's foster and adoptive families all over the country, and there's resources for you. So don't be scared into going into this, because you can do it knowing that you have opportunity, lifelong opportunity to learn how to be better. These are just the tip of the iceberg, but these are foundational things. When we were talking about the nurturing relationships, one thing that I wanted to say is that you are not the only one that is making a commitment to this child that you're bringing into your home, whether it be for 2 hours, 2 days, 2 months, 2 years, or 20 years, right? This is not the only relationship that they're going to be forging. If you go every Sunday to your Nana's house for lunch, brunch, or supper, right, you're going to presumably be bringing your foster adoptive child with you. Have these conversations. They don't need to approve it. It's not a checklist item where it's like, oh, okay, well, if you don't think I should do this, I'm not going to become a foster and adoptive parent. We have to have discernment and wisdom to make those choices for ourselves. And maybe we have to create some boundaries with those loved ones who may not support what we're doing. However, we can have those conversations with our loved ones, with our friends, our extended family members. They're not just doing it alone, so they have to go and have these conversations with others. And again, that goes back to that Ephesians 3:20, where we're talking about, well, Ariana, this sounds like a lot of work. Well, yes, because the child is not your dog that you can leave at home when you go to lunch at Nana's. You're taking the child with you. And if that child is going to be of a different race, background, orientation, may not speak the proper way that your Nana would like, then you need to have that conversation and let them know, let whoever fill in the blank that person is, I love you and I love the relationship that we have together, and I want to have that relationship with you for a lifetime. But I want to let you know that I've decided to welcome into my home this child. And this child, I don't know everything about them, and I don't know where they're going to come from, what their background is. But I know God has placed it upon my heart to open my home to this child. And I'm just asking, are you willing to open your home too? To treat them with the same love and respect that you, hypothetically, if you already have a biological child, that you treat them, or if you don't, that you would treat your biological great grandchild or grandchild. Have these conversations before you embark on this journey, because I can guarantee you it's going to be a life changing situation. It's going to exceedingly and abundantly make a difference in not only your lives, but your child's life, right? And the tribe that you surround your child in. All right. Number 5. This one is like, oh, I mean, honestly, this is one of the biggest reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing. I grew up in this world where I was raised. My mom, like I said, she's an incredible woman. You're going to meet her, I promise. But she went and took us to Tallahassee. I live in Florida, and so she would take us to Tallahassee. Every year we would go and we would speak to the senators. We would go and speak to lobbyists. We would go and speak to people who can make a difference, who sign the bills, who sign the checks, who decide whether money is going to go here, here, here. And let me tell you, the sea turtles, the dolphins, I love them. We live in Florida. They're very important, vital for our ecosystem, beautiful creatures. And I'm not here to say that one life is more important than another. I'm here to advocate for children and to let you know that children's lives are so important. If you decide to make this journey into becoming a foster and adoptive home, or if you're just watching this part of my channel because you want to learn more about what it means and it's intriguing to you, maybe you're not at the place right now where you want to open your home, and that's completely okay. I would love if you just continue to educate yourself, because you know what? You listen into this video, you might go to lunch next week with your girlfriend, right? And you might have that conversation. You might say to them, oh, well, I hadn't thought about it, but I was watching Ariana on Ventures by Ariana, because you're going to share it, right? And she was talking about this. And that girlfriend has been thinking about foster and adoption. And now you've impacted their life in a positive way. You've given them another resource. So send my video to them so they can be educated, right? They can have a different perspective. Number 5 is advocacy and support. So beyond the confines of your home, foster and adoptive families often become advocates because they are looking for positive change within the child welfare system. Because I told you earlier, you have these individuals like caseworkers, social workers, guardian ad litems, transporters, right, who are here paid for by the state. They have big heart. I'm phenomenal people, but they're overworked, underpaid, right? And so it's very difficult. They're kind of like rats on the wheel, chasing the cheese, right? Getting that caseload. Okay, check. Okay, moving on. So when a child comes into your home, be different. Go exceedingly abundantly above. You're going to advocate and support for that child because you know what? There's court dates. Children go to court when their parents are trying to become reunified with them. It is a legal system. The children become a warden of the state. So technically, you could have the guardian ad litem go, you could have the transporter take the child to court. You could have the transporter take the child to doctor's appointments. It's an option. I don't recommend it, right? If you're following me, if you're following my channel and you're thinking about becoming a foster and adoptive family, if you are able to, whenever you are able to, because you do have to work, you do have to be employed in the state of Florida to be a foster parent. Like, you have to have a separate job. You can't just raise kids, which, I mean, people are doing phenomenal things, but it's not like you can make a paycheck off of foster children. I'll do another video on that, on kind of like pay scales and how that ranges. I mean, legally, you have to have a job, right? You have to make an income of your own. And so I get it. Sometimes you can't take off work. You have an important presentation. You can't make it, right? But when you can make it, you're doing it. You're stepping in place of. That's powerful. I don't know if you guys can feel that, but you are in place of. God has called you to be in place of that birth parent, right? And so when you do that, you are advocating and supporting your child throughout all of its circumstances in life. To do this, again, you need a network. So form connections with supportive networks, join those associations and organizations, contribute to a broader community that understands the importance of child welfare, and with stable and loving environments. Overall, man, I have chills because this is just, it means so much to me. The essence of a quality foster and adoptive home is a testament to love, stability, security, and support, right? And so your child is going to come from a place of trauma. It's inevitable. The framing, the verbiage is your child. That is your child. Not your child to treat however you want, right? Not to abuse, neglect, because that's where they came from. Advocacy and support goes beyond just taking them into your home. You are in charge of shaping that narrative. I thank you so much for watching this video. I really, man, I still have chills. It's incredibly powerful. When you think about the impact that you can make in a child's life by going exceedingly and abundantly above everything that you thought you may have needed to become a foster and adoptive home. Rephrasing, right? And letting a child know that they can own their uniqueness. And as a result, with you as the parent, right, or you as the sibling, right, because I imagine and I hope that someone sent you this video because your sibling, maybe a teenage sibling of foster children, about to come into your parents' house. As a family, as a foster and adoptive family, I encourage you to own your uniqueness. And as you do that, the child and children that come into your home will learn to do the same. I pray blessings over you and your family. Let me know if you have any other questions in the comments below. I really enjoyed making this video, you guys, and I continue and can't wait to make more. Bye.